So when I said that when you came here you were signing up for a little bit of uncomfortableness, I recognize that for some, the uncomfortable might be because you're going to hear things that remind you of your own painful experiences you've had. And for some, it may be painful to understand that some things that you've done have been hurtful to others. And for some of you, it's going to be both. So with that said, I will forge on. And with microaggressions, the work of Dr. Daryl Wing Su, who's actually an Asian American, he's a Chinese American man who has done an immense amount of work on microaggressions, published over 150 scholarly articles on it. Did some very useful work in breaking down what microaggressions are. And there are three major categories that we can talk about in our discussions here. The first one is a little bit of an outlier. Microassault is the conscious one. It's like when somebody says, and all the examples I'm going to give, by the way, are personal experiences that we at the gathering have had. So I'm not just pulling these out of thin air. This is when someone deliberately calls you Oriental in a way that's demeaning, or it says something like, go back to Vietnam, or if you don't like it here, you should just go back to China. Okay, that's a microassault, and that is not generally what happens with microaggressions, because usually, remember I said seemingly harmless and unintentional. So we have micro insults, and micro insults are where it often stems from ignorance. This is where sometimes people will say, so are microaggressions racist or are they just ignorant? And the answer is yes. Because yes, it often stems from ignorance, but what happens is it's very demeaning to the receiver. So this would be like saying, oh, here's a copy of the sermon in English so that you can understand it. Or saying, oh, you must have gotten this job because they needed more diversity. Or saying, you know, it's not like those camps were prison camps. I mean, it's for their own safety. Okay? It says your contribution is unimportant. So the third one, and the one that is sometimes the most insidious, would be the micro-invalidation. And this is the very unconscious, and what it usually does is it fails to recognize individual personhood. So it fails to recognize the realities of that receiver's life. So this is when you're told, oh, your English is so good. Or when you're told, you don't have an accent though, or I don't see you as Asian. Or you're not like those others. Or, you know, all you people kind of look alike anyway. Or, no, where are you from? No, where are you really from? These are micro-invalidations, and they have an aggregate way of truly harming a person. When I was collecting these stories, almost everybody said some of these happened even 20, 30 years ago, and they still hurt. They still wound. They still sit there and can be places of pain and sorrow and disconnection.